Welcome to your weekly. We're going to go ahead and look at the overall energy and our challenge, as well as your cards for the week. And this is for the week of November 13th through the 19th, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First card we have for the overall theme is the Three of Wands in the reverse. That energy is stalking us. And that is challenged by, oh good Lord, the Judgment in the reverse. Whew, all right. I knew this reading was going to be interesting. Okay. So with the Three of Wands in the reverse, what we're looking at here is us feeling more or less kind of blocked this week. So, and I mean, I can tell you that kind of makes sense. Giving an example from me, which just kind of answers my question. Literally, since like about Friday, I have had like no energy to do anything, and I've been telling myself all weekend, like, we got to do the weekly, man, we got to do it. Right. But I feel with this, it's, and I don't even want to necessarily say, cause when is the Scorpio new moon? The Scorpio new moon is on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It's tomorrow. It's on the 13th. So, I can't even say that this is like new moon hangover energy, cause you're setting intentions, but I mean, that kind of would make sense. Damn, that does actually make a lot of sense. Okay, now this is becoming a whole ordeal, now that I think about it. Okay. Well, I'll throw in here too, because I have no idea if I'm putting this on YouTube or not. Things are changing so much, y'all, and I'm like consistently inconsistent. If this does go on YouTube, we have a funeral that we do on my network every year. This year, She Do Society, if you don't know. This year is the 3rd year that we're doing it. And it's like a release ritual in so many words. And I reason why I bring that up, because I mean, it's free. It's like you don't have to pay money to go to it. So, I'm going to put the link up for it. So, there's no catch or anything like that. You don't have to become a member. It's free for anyone to join it. But anyway, with this in particularly, with us having the release ritual, and we do it the same time every year, because it's like you kind of preparing yourself at the downturn of a particular year going into a new year. So you kind of start getting into the headspace. Now, where this kind of relates to these intentions, right, from the Scorpio new moon, which is going to be our card for Monday, it's like the Three of Wands would be saying in so many words, like you have intentions or had intentions prior to this to move forward, but it feels to me almost like a reluctance. So say hypothetically during the eclipse and all of that, and like after the eclipse, it's like you're all gassed up and you're like, I'm changing my life. I'm gonna go to the gym. It's like I'm breaking up with this person. I'm cutting ties with people. And you're all gassed up about it, but it's kind of like at this point, you're like, wait a minute, like stuff hasn't really changed. I'm not feeling as motivated. I don't really know what my purpose is. Do I really want to work this job? Do I really want to do any of this stuff kind of deal? So it's kind of like that feeling to where it's an inability to kind of make intentions or make goals for the future, because you don't really know what the future is or where it is that you want to go or be future tense, if that's making sense. And that ties into, like I was saying, how I felt all weekend, which is just like a lack of motivation for like anything. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've literally been laying in bed and watching like series of shows, and I never do that. But it could be something as simple as that kind of vibe, or like on that bigger scale, really not knowing what the hell to do moving forward, or feeling kind of disillusioned with life or with your path right now, and not really knowing what to do with that. You know what I'm saying? And it's something else I wanted to say with that too. Oh, it's like on the other side of that, it's like being disillusioned with the future, but on the other side of that, it could literally be not having opportunities in order for you to move forward, if I could say it that way. So you may have the intention in place and know what you want to do, but you don't have the money for it, or you don't have an opportunity for it. You don't have the time for it. Like the space isn't really created as of yet, right? So that's our overall theme for the week. Now, when we're looking at our challenge being the Judgment in the reverse, The first thing I feel with this is being sure that you're not misjudging the situation. So like, say if this is like is not is, right? You set intentions for something and the is not has to manifest before the is. We know that, right? But if it's one of those cases, then it's imperative that you don't misjudge the situation. So say if there's kind of like a foreboding feeling of like, what if this doesn't work out? What if I don't have the money? What if this doesn't pan out the way that I hope that it does? You know what I'm saying? And allowing that to more or less like I can't talk. More or less allowing that to disillusion you or potentially cause you to give up on it entirely. You know what I'm saying? To where you end up saying like, you know, screw it and going backwards, or I'm trying to figure out if that was someone knocking at my door. Okay, anyway. But whether that's you saying like screw it and going backwards, or if this is like, you know, you, and this is a weird kind of energy. I don't even really know how to explain this, to be honest with you. I'd have to give a scenario for this because this is kind of hard for me to make words with this, because I feel like I need to tread lightly with it. It's like in the arena of misjudging people. How could I say this? It's almost like a, do I want to say projection? It's kind of like if one person screwed you over, it's like, what is that thing with the apples? Like a few bad apples spoil a whole bunch kind of thing. But it's like I'm seeing that in the context of like one person screwed you over and like projecting that on like everyone type of deal. Like misjudging it, like there's one person at your job that you don't like your boss sucks and you think everybody at work hates you type of deal. And it's not everyone, it's just the boss. But I feel like there's a need to kind of be careful with that this week as well. And that's almost like reality checking yourself, and reality checking yourself in the sense of like, you know, if you're like, everybody hates me and you're using absolute statements, it's almost more or less like testing yourself in the context of like, is it really everyone or is it just Susan? Sorry if there's a Susan watching this. You know what I'm saying? If Susan's like your boss, it's like, does everyone at work hate me or is it just Susan? Like, am I just having problems with Susan? Like, this is what Susan does that pisses me off. But it's like, is everyone else at work like an asshole? You know what I'm saying? Or am I just like assuming that because I feel, you know, attacked by Susan type of deal? You know what I'm saying? But overall, what it is that I'm feeling with this for the theme of the week, I do feel that it's kind of a little disillusioned, a little lost, not having opportunities to move forward, or, you know, kind of wanting to renege on decisions that you made. So it's like kind of like a fear, like maybe I jumped too soon type of deal, or not having opportunities in order to move forward and becoming disillusioned. And the key is here is to watch out for the challenge, because I feel kind of what we're coming into this week with, and what we'll be feeling throughout the remainder of the week because of this being the theme, the whole key is to make sure that you're not misjudging the situation, like kind of getting swept away with a temporary feeling and assuming like, you know, like that this is what it is, this is what it's gonna be. And okay, thank you for that, guys. Making permanent decisions based on temporary problems. So that pretty much sums that up. So getting into our cards for Monday and Tuesday, child, I don't know if I'm gonna post this on YouTube or not. I literally have no idea, but I guess I should do it how I did it last week that I didn't post. I might just like randomly post that, like just because I don't know, y'all, I'm going through so many transformations and stuff right now with my path. I'm like, I have to freaking, it's like I'm always changing things. But all that's gonna change eventually. Eventually meaning soon. We're not going into 2024 like this. But anyway, let's look at our card for Monday and Tuesday, because that's what I did last week. I looked at these two and then I switched over. So our card for Monday is the Four of Pentacles. And then our card for Tuesday, that's a siren going. That's interesting. That's rare to hear where I live. Anyway, then we have that is so strange to hear that here. Anyway, we have the Four of Wands in the reverse. That's interesting. 2 4s starting off the week. This is kind of reminding me of last week a little bit. Okay, so with these Four of Pentacles here on Monday, this really feels to me. This really feels to me almost like a hoarder type of mentality, if I could say it that way. It's kind of how could I say this? It's like it's energy hoarding, right? But it's almost like protecting yourself, or that's how one would see it. So say hypothetically you're really good at something, or you have an idea for, like, I don't know, a book or an app or something like that, right? It's like you have some sort of yummy goodness that exists inside of you, but your perspective on other people is almost like they're trying to take from you, which kind of brings me back to this challenge energy, like misjudging the situation. I don't know. This is interesting because the energy that I'm picking up on, dude, dead ass, it feels almost like a person would feel like they're being attacked. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is, like, you're not being attacked, but it just, I can't say it just feels like you are, because it's not that. It's totally how you're thinking about it. Yeah, it's not a feeling. It's how it is that you're thinking about it. But all of it is kind of rooted in a lack mentality. It's like, and I don't know if this is past related, but it's like it's a fear of not having, or not having enough, or running out of. But the truth of the matter is that you have more than enough. So it's like you're safeguarding the stuff that you have and not sharing it with other people. And I don't necessarily feel this monetarily. I mean, for some of you, it could be. Y'all could be like hoard saving or something like that. Yeah, I mean, you could be hoard saving. My vape just died. Dagnabbit. So I mean, it could be something like you guys hoard saving, or and that's me just kind of reaching with it, to be honest, because I don't really feel that. Like, to me, this feels more energetic, or like creative, or energy, or effort. Like, it's some sort of resource that you guys are in possession of, but it's not wanting to share it with other people, because your perception of other people for some reason this week is like people are out to get you. But the truth of the matter is that you have more than enough of what you need. Like so like how I tell you guys about giving to other people, right? And I tell you to not give from your I cannot freaking talk. I tell you guys to give not from your reserves, but from your overflow. This is like you being in overflow, but you perceiving yourself as if you're in a deficit, right? And so it doesn't matter what changes around you, which kind of puts this Three of Wands into question for me, just saying, because especially with the challenge being judgment in the reverse, this dead ass could mean that none of this is even happening and all of this is happening in your head, right? Like, you have more than enough money, you have more than enough resources, you have more than enough opportunity, you have more than enough creativity, you have more than enough, motivation or whatever, right? You have more than enough of what it is that you need, but for some reason, you're perceiving it as you being blocked. There's no opportunity. There's nothing to do. What is my life? You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's like, oh, I can't release the book because somebody's going to steal my idea. Or, oh, I can't help these people. Like, my friend asked to borrow money to pay her light bill, but I can't help her because everybody always takes from me. They're just a taker. And I'm a giver. And I decided with the eclipse that I was going to start enacting reciprocity in my life, and I wasn't going to let people take advantage of me anymore. But that kind of goes back to what I was saying with the Three of Wands. It's like, this not really happening. You know what I'm saying? Like when I said the whole scenario with the boss, it's like, this isn't really happening. You're just kind of seeing it that way, which is interesting, and I don't know. I don't really know. Like, I mean, I don't really know what would cause that in this particular situation. I could say, like, if I put my therapist hat on, I could say, I mean, it's like being traumatized. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we have like that pseudo level of healing and we think we're over stuff, but we're in actuality like projecting our past trauma onto people presently. and seeing everyone as the same. But I mean, that's not anything that you can really fix overnight. Like, that's one of those things you need to go to therapy for. You know what I'm saying? Nothing I would see in these cards would help you with that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a lot of processing work that has to be done with that. But all in all, it's like Monday, it's coming into the week, like closing yourself off. So the whole thing I'm saying with this is it kind of puts me into this thought of like, are you robbing yourself of opportunities, or are you self-sabotaging? Because that's kind of the vibe I would get here. So this doesn't even really feel to me, even with our overall energy and the challenge, it doesn't really so much feel to me that there aren't opportunities or that this is not his paradigm. It's like, it kind of would look to me almost as if like these cards were upright. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the real challenge is judgment. You know what I'm saying? And the real overall energy is the Three of Wands. So it's like, that's positive movement forward. You know what I'm saying? And like, challenge being judgment is more or less, that would be something that's more or less external to you. Sort of, kind of, a little bit. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, because I feel this kind of two ways. And I'm saying this hypothetically. If these were actually upright, even though I do feel that this is like the real energy for this week, but because I do these weeklies from a personal development perspective, it's like the energy that I'm going to channel is going to be from the perspective of people who are going to watch it, right? Of you kind of getting insight into your situation of what it is that's happening. But I feel like outside of this, it's really a Three of Wands kind of week with the judgment, which is pretty much like, you know, reward and punishment kind of vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like, the byproduct of where it is that we end up this week is the byproduct of the choices and decisions that we've made. You feel what I'm saying? Like I used to say back in the day, like where everyone already is where they will ultimately end up. Life is just showing you how it got that way. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of vibe. So it's like, it's not really anybody's fault. It's like, if you were to end up, you know, hoarding, like a hoarder and alone, and not saying anything negative about hoarders, you know, just saying this as an example. If you were to end up a hoarder and alone, it's like, that would be of your own volition. Like, it wouldn't really have anything to do with anyone else. It's not that God hates you or, you know, you got dealt a bad hand in life. It's just kind of what you chose to do with it. And it was perpetuating your past into the present and thus into the foreseeable future. You feel what I'm saying? But anywho, that's what we're looking at for Monday. It's kind of isolating yourself and cutting people off and having this perception as if people are out to get you or to take what it is that you have. But the truth is, you have more than enough. So if I were to be honest, dude, I know we talked a lot about reciprocity last week, which is probably why I'm going to post that first half. I might do that today. Posting the first half of the weekly, and then posting this too. But it's like we talked a lot about reciprocity last week, like the whole give and take. But I mean, even though this is a natural part of progression where you're the person who gives way too much, and I talked about that too, about like the three houses, it's like you were the person who overgave, right? Then you go to the other side of the Likert scale of being the person who gives nothing at all. I mean, that's a natural progression. But I mean, you have to come to 0 point if you want to kind of transcend the timeline, which is you truly understanding giving and receiving. Because to understand it is not like, let me keep me and all my stuff to myself and not fuck with nobody. That's kind of not what the point is. You feel what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind for Monday if you feel a little cheeky energy coming over you, right? Now, coming into Tuesday with the Four of Wands in the reverse, that's upset on the home front for me, and not necessarily in your physical home. This is sounding so much like last week because I feel like I said the same thing. I was talking about people having issues with their house and stuff last week. But anyway, this is issues on the home front, whether that's like literally like issues in your, you know, with your physical structure of your house, or it's issues with your close relationships, whether that's friends, family, you know, coworkers, what have you. And to be honest, I feel this has a lot to do with this. Like all of this going on right here, I feel like this has a lot to do with that. If a person is coming into this week with this thought of, I'm shutting everyone else out, I'm only going to worry about myself, I have what I need, all these people trying to take from me, they're trying to set me up. If you have that type of mentality, you know what I'm saying? Of course, that's going to cause issues with people around you. Now, even though I don't feel this at all. Because I'm not picking up on that energy. But I mean, anything is possible. Because I'm pretty sure somebody who's establishing healthy boundaries under the guidance of a therapist, pretty sure that, you know what you're doing. Because your therapist knows what they're doing with guiding you in establishing healthy boundaries. The only other thing I could see from this is if this would be someone who is establishing healthy boundaries, right? Like coming into this week, you know what I'm saying? And just if I go through all these cards again, it's like them feeling like there's no movement forward with it. It's like, this is very uncomfortable. Like, I established boundaries. I'm second guessing myself. Did I really make, the right choice? Because now I'm feeling guilty, feeling like I did something wrong here. Maybe my therapist is tripping. You know what I'm saying? And that challenge being like I was saying, a foreboding feeling in reference to your reluctance to move forward with something healthy for you. You feel what I'm saying? And then in this context where these two fours would come in, the Four of Pentacles and the Four of Wands in the reverse, is kind of like you keeping yourself to yourself, and like people around you, friends, family members, would have you like going apeshit, cuckoo bananas because you're establishing boundaries. Because that's typically what happens. If you don't know, I mean, like I said, if you're working with your therapist, I'm pretty sure your therapist told you that already, is that when it comes to establishing boundaries and whatnot, people around you go insane because it upsets the system, because you play a role in the system, especially if you're like the scapegoat child or something, right? It's like you play that role of you being the punching bag that everyone blames for the problems in the family, right? If you remove yourself from that, it drives people insane because it's like, wait a minute, we need to blame them for the problems. You're supposed to be the punching bag. How dare you remove yourself from the system? It's like now the system's like all, ill calibrated, and it's trying to get back into calibration. It's trying to get back to that homeostasis. So it's like the drama's more or less created to reel you back in so the system can, restructure itself to the way that it was operating before. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the only other way that I could see this. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, if this would be somebody who's establishing healthy boundaries under the guidance of your therapist, then you would know all of this already. But that's the only other way that I would more or less see this. But I do see this as kind of like chaos and disharmony and upset with people who are close to you. But the direct thing that I see with it is more or less like your energetic stance of feeling stuck and disillusioned about how to move forward and unsure if you made the right decision is making you go into survival mode and full-on self-protection. And that's going to start causing issues external to you because of how you're behaving, if I could say it that way. So whether that's, boundaries, that stuff at work, it's like something here shift or changed, and it's changed how you're showing up, and how it is that you're showing up coming into Tuesday is causing chaos, calamity, and like upset in some relationship in close proximity to you. Now, I feel really bad. I know what these cards said. I feel really bad, YouTube, to stop the video here. I mean, I still don't know. I mean, Patreon and network, y'all gonna see this regardless. I have no idea if I'm actually gonna post this on YouTube or not. I have no clue. But I'm gonna just go ahead and stop it here. YouTube, I'm sorry that it ended like that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of the reading. I love y'all's faces. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this in the next video. Love your face. Bye.